Welcome to another episode of Dear ABG, where we answer listener-submitted questions. If you don't know us already, we host a podcast called ABG, AsianBossGirl. I'm Janet.
I'm Helen.
And I'm Mel. Before we get started with today's listener-submitted questions, we're going to ask each other a random question. So today's random question is, how many pillows do you sleep with?
Yo, your hair looks good right now, both of you. I'm just noticing.
Thank you. You do.
Thank
She's
you.
got the
Thank
spray
you.
that she did by herself.
It's from the pillows I sleep on.
Oh.
Do you want to go over it?
Sure, I sleep with one.
What?
pillow. Yeah, what?
Okay.
I sleep with one, and that is all I need. It's not even like a super nice pillow. It's just one.
Are you like a flat pillow person or like a fluffy pillow?
Yeah.
I'm like if I have a pillow, be happy type
That's true.
person.
Helen can fall asleep on a chair.
That's true.
In any position. She's
I'll
knocked
sleep
out.
right now.
How about you, Mel?
I think sleeping is an art form. And with that answer, I sleep with 6 pillows.
What?
Wait, what? Okay, there's 6 pillows on my bed. Okay.
Yes.
I can't sleep completely flat because I get vertigo.
I have 6 pillows. I have one long body pillow that I use as a headboard. I have 2 fluffy pillows that I use, on the back. And then I have another pillow I sleep on. And then I have 2.
It
She has
feels
a
like
whole setup.
I have a setup and I feel like I have another body because I have so many pillows in my bed.
So it's like your cuddle pillow.
Yes, I have so many.
Okay.
I'm somewhere between the two of you. I sleep with 3 pillows.
Am I looking at her?
So, yeah, my bed's right there behind the camera. I have one that I sleep on just on my head. And then because I don't have a formal headboard, I have another one that I prop up behind me. And then the third is kind of the random one that's on the side that I sometimes will hug or just is there as a barrier.
Oh.
Yeah.
At hotels, though, they have a lot of pillows.
yeah.
Do you use all the pillows that they come with?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I love it.
At hotels, I actually I have the back one and then the one I sleep on. I won't use I don't really want to cuddle a hotel pillow. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, so.
I always either put it behind me and then I sleep lower on the bed for the one pillow, or if there's a lot of pillows, I just put it on the floor because I'm never going to use those pillows. Also, the decorative pillows, the one that's like long and cylindrical,
Family zone.
that stuff is nasty.
Yeah, I
they
always put that on the
never
floor.
wash that one. Also, the runners that come in on the hotel beds, do you know what a runner is for?
You don't run on it.
For your feet. Oh, for your shoes.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's for when people are too lazy to take off their damn shoes and they just lie on the bed with their shoes on in bed. I think that's so gross. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like every time I see that, I'm like,
All right, so our first question comes from New York, California, and this person wants to remain anonymous. And the person asks, how do you handle conflicting love languages in a relationship? My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years now, and this is a reoccurring issue that we have been having that we can't seem to find the best compromise for. If you ladies have any advice, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks.
So for me, in my current relationship with Philip, his love language is acts of service and words of affirmation. And for me, it's acts of service and quality time. And lately, he's been super duper busy. I remember like 2 years ago, our quality time would actually be at the gym. Like after work, we would go to the gym, work out together, and check each other out, all that stuff. But now, he's decided to go and open up a cafe, Bopomofo Cafe, and he's been super busy, and we haven't had time to do that. And then on top of that, he's writing a book now, he's writing scripts, and he's like doing things for the community and a bunch of different things, like probably 2 times more than what he was already doing before, and he was already busy. So we actually had a very serious conversation about this, because I said, hey man, no, I didn't say that, but I said, hey, like, I need quality time, And the way that he verbalized it was, 1, he's very sorry that he's not able to give it to me right now, and 2, he wants to build the foundations for us so that when we start a family, he will be able to spend quality time with like us and like our kids and things like that. So when he said that, I was like, oh, I got it. Like there's only so much sometimes that someone can do, and they're limited by the amount of time that they have. And so for me now, like I will actually show him more acts of service and more words of affirmation because I know that during this period of time, he needs it. And then other periods of time, for sure, I've been like, I need this type of love, especially when I was going through a bunch of different things, and he gave that to me. So I think it does need to be a little bit of a compromise with your significant other, and figuring out, is your love language different and you're just both not willing to compromise? Because then maybe that becomes a little bit of an issue, because over time that's going to build on itself. But if it's something that, you know, if you love each other enough, you're going to try and work something out. That's my opinion. Yeah.
That's a really good perspective. I never thought about how it's like different periods of your life, you're going to be going through different things, right? And so to be able to like give a little bit of leeway for that. My answer probably is not so strong because it's been a while since I've been in a relationship, so I don't have like the best like firsthand experience. I just wonder if you guys have clearly communicated your love languages to each other. And I know it can be a struggle. Like, I think it's a pretty common thing that people want to give love the way that they prefer to receive it. But it's pretty important, I think, in relationships to learn, or not even just romantic, but friendships, family, to learn how that person receives love and give it based off of what their preference is. So one example that comes to mind is I have a very good friend who I think one of her love languages is gift giving, but her husband is like not really, like that's not his thing, right? A way that they have compromised is she will go ahead and actually put a list for him of all the things that she wants for things like birthdays and anniversaries. So he just picks something off the list to get her, right? So that's one way where you can kind of like make it easier for the other person so that you still get what you want, but it doesn't make it as hard for them.
Personally, for me, I rank the highest for words of affirmation, and my like second to last is physical touch. But with my ex-boyfriend, I feel like I naturally felt like I was adjusting myself and I was okay with it. Like with him, he wasn't really big on giving words of affirmation, and so I felt myself kind of like seeking physical touch more with him, and I think he was able to give that to me. So when we were able to adjust that way, I felt like I was getting love in that sense. So like if you naturally are okay with adjusting and to other love languages and you see that working, I think that's fine. But it is an issue. You guys are not willing to compromise. I think Helen said it, like, if you really truly love each other, maybe you can compromise, and maybe it's the timing. But I think relationships with my friends where, as partners, they just really just were conflicting all the time in terms of love language, and it was hard for them to get past that, and they did break up. Because they both chose not to compromise, or they both couldn't actually compromise at all, because that's just not, in them. I think Helen brings up a good point. Like, timing does play a huge role, but don't feel like you're changing yourself, because I feel like that also will, hurt you in some way. So if you guys are really truly conflicting and can't compromise, can't compromise, maybe it's, maybe it's not meant to be.
So the next question here comes from Christina from Chicago. Hello. And she says, how do you stop comparing your definition of success to others, especially in a career mindset? As someone pretty active on LinkedIn, it's encouraging to see other people succeed, but it's also difficult to not compare my accomplishments to theirs. There are 18-year-olds making more money and achieving more in life than me at the age of 23. Girl, you a baby. Sometimes it makes me feel behind in life. Maybe it's my high standards or society's narrow definition of success, but some days I get really down about what I haven't done.
Well, Christina, I feel you. I think I've said this so many times, but this message is I could have seen myself writing with the same message in my 20s. As someone who has career switched a couple of times, I've definitely had periods where my progress is not the same as everyone else's, right? And isn't there a meme, or there's some graph where they're like, this is what you think success looks like, and this is what it actually looks like, right? Yes. So you never know when you're looking at someone at any given point where they are on their journey. In 5 years, you guys could switch, right? That being said, modern day technology makes it incredibly hard to not be always checking in on people. And I definitely was very guilty of this, especially when I was job searching. I was using LinkedIn as a tool to try to get a job, but I was also seeing my feed go on with all these people doing all these things and getting promoted and blah, blah, blah. So I think my tip for you would be to try to log off when you can. I think get enough of the information so you're, up to date on what's happening in your industry, but make an active decision to cap the amount of time you're spending on there. And active alternative things that I did that I found helpful was getting outside and meeting up with other people. Because oftentimes when you're on LinkedIn, you're just by yourself in your room and you're just thinking. So get outside, grab coffee with a friend, maybe a friend that you can talk to about the way you're feeling. I think oftentimes when it's just in your own head, you're not getting the full perspective. So I know it's a lot easier said than done, but try to actively log off every once in a while.
All right, so for me, I could also relate like Janet. I have definitely compared myself to other people in my industry and seeing how far they're going, and I feel so behind. But I think Janet said something that I really believe in, is that you don't know where you are in terms of your journey with success. And looking back now, I realize my time was different than theirs. Another thing to note is that when you're looking at LinkedIn and their status, all you're seeing on LinkedIn is their job title and where they're working at, but you don't know actually how happy they really are. You know, on LinkedIn, they're not showcasing their whole life, right? They're just showcasing a part of it. So keep that in mind. They may not be as happy as you, or we honestly, we don't know. The second thing I will say though is someone's job title doesn't necessarily mean higher pay. I think maybe it's because I work in media, or I don't know if it's in the tech world. It really just depends on the company, the industry. So if someone's a director or this high title, that doesn't really equate to a lot of money either. So just keep that in mind.
This is all good advice, and I think just building off of that, you never know if someone might have had like generational wealth, or you know, like it got passed down to them, or they had like just a really good mentor that helped them to get their foot in the door, and it's just, you know, an anomaly versus like the average. But something that a phrase that I've used recently is comparison is the thief of joy. And that I believe Teddy Roosevelt said that one. But I really do believe that. And I think that if you are comparing yourself, and you're still very young, like honestly 23, I know you're probably like, stop telling me I'm still a baby, because I'm not. But I know it's not, like 23, you're like a full grown adult. But from our perspective, it is still very young, because we've also had, like Janet, you've had many different careers since the age of 23, and you're a happy grown individual adult now, right? So 23 is still very young. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. But I think it's good that you're being fueled, you know, if you actually look at this as a fire within yourself to try and push yourself to do things and achieve things. Use that in that way, but be gentle with yourself and try not to compare, because it is gonna steal your joy. You don't want it to steal your joy.
And our last question today comes in the form of a voicemail from a listener with a very special message.
Hi, ABG ladies. My name is Jasmine, and I'm a huge fan of this show. So I had an idea in terms of a topic that you ladies might be interested in featuring in an upcoming episode. And I was thinking a lot about the upcoming elections in November, and mobilizing the Asian American community to get out there to vote and understand that their voice matters. And I believe that the Asian American community is the group that has the lowest voter turnout. So there are a few different voting summits and events going on recently just to educate. And I thought that would be a really, really interesting and relevant topic to share. I think there would be a huge positive impact in sharing that. So yeah, just wanted to share that idea, and really, really, really a huge supporter of you guys. Keep doing what you do. Always really excited every time an episode comes out, and sending so much love and positive energy over to you guys. All right, take care, and thanks.
Oh, thank you, Jasmine. That is a very great message to send us, and we, the three of us, are trying to push out, making sure that everyone is registered to vote. November 3rd is when you vote. But she's right. I think the AAPI community is the fastest growing registered voters out there. There's about 11 million of us, about 5% of the eligible voters out there, but we are also have the lowest turnout. So there does need to be something done here. And for us three, like, we're gonna use our platform as much as we can to push this out, because that is shocking. Like, we should be out there voting if we have the power to, you know? And so make sure that you are registered. There's so many friends that have come up to me that said, like, am I registered? I'm like, check it. Go check it. I don't know. It takes like 30 seconds to check it. You know? I think a lot of people are like spewing the message out to do it, but like they don't even know if they're doing it themselves and calling you out. Go check it, okay? But even like asking your parents and your grandparents, you have a whole circle of people around you that you can check in with, especially people who might not feel comfortable voting. So make sure to check in with them and make sure they get their vote in.
Yeah, and if you're wondering where to go to vote.org. That's where you can check about your registration status. And if you're looking for information, because we know that it can seem overwhelming with all the stuff on the ballot, right? You can also go to ballotready.org to get some information. You enter in where you're located, and they show you all the different stuff that you're going to be voting on.
And we recently released an episode 77, A Woman's Right to Vote, where we share our journey with voting, you know, from high school to voting in our first election. So make sure you check that out. It's episode 77. And that concludes today's episode of Dear ABG. If you have a question for us or want to leave us a voicemail, you can do so in the information in the description box below.
And if you haven't already checked out our latest episode, we are also a podcast. We are Asian Boss Girl. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of your podcasting platforms. And we'll catch you all on the next episode. Bye! I'm Helen.
And I'm Mel.
Mel!
You okay?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I
Does it hurt?
No, I just mean doing that.
Oh yeah, it's you.
Shit, then
Controlling.
sorry.
Do you have a human in there?
That's impossible.
Bye!
Pretty.
Bye!
What's all with